Thank you for returning to Hobby Shop 1983 on page 121. So you're back in the Hobby Shop. You bought your new issue of the Dragon. I've already taken a look at this issue. It's the July 1983 edition of Dragon Magazine, number 75. So why am I holding it up? Well, there's an article in here on a game I wanted to cover for Hobby Shop 1983, Gamma World. Gamma World's second edition dropped in 1983. We were playing it tremendously, and I felt that any homage to 1983 would be incomplete without Gamma World. There's a really good monster article in here with a bunch of different monsters listed for Gamma World. So I'm going to be taking a look at those in depth. Unfortunately, Gamma World was not very widely supported by TSR, so we had to kind of live on Dragon Magazine and maybe some other stuff from other publishers that would give us little drips and drabs of Gamma World. Gamma World was a great game, didn't see the love it should have seen from TSR, and you ended up having to do a lot on your own, which we did. But when we got a little treasure like this in Dragon Magazine, believe me, it made it to the table in a hurry. So today in Hobby Shop 1983, we're going to take a look at Gamma World Monsters from July 1983, Dragon Magazine number 75, on page 121. One of my standard acquisitions when visiting the Hobby Shop in 1983 was Dragon Magazine. I bought this guy every month and tore through it and just loved what was in it. This issue especially was good. If you saw my look at it a couple of weeks ago, you'll know that I did enjoy this issue. But what came in this issue that was a special treat for me on page 34 is Gamma World. We were not getting a ton of support, even though Gamma World's second edition was brand new. We weren't seeing a ton of support from TSR for it. In fact, they only published 2 modules for Gamma World's second edition. And I know it's all based on sales and things like that, but speaking as a Gamma maniac, I wanted more. So I was really excited to get any kind of Gamma World supplement in Dragon Magazine. Now, I did take a look at this when I looked at the magazine as a whole, but I just glanced at it as I went through the whole magazine. We're going to take a deeper dive into the various creatures presented. And this article is written by the excellent Roger Moore. So the very first creature we have is a hydrogen. It's a, it's got 14 die 6 for hit points, armor class 3. Attacks 5 to 30 per bite or by special. It could also, I believe it could envelop you, constrict you. But the hydrogen is a huge mutated descendant of the diamondback rattlesnake, found in many places in the deserts of the American Southwest North America, the old United States of Mexico. Hydrogens range from 15 to 20 meters in length. 2 to 7 heads are present, each is well equipped with razor-sharp fangs and teeth. 6 major fangs in the upper jaws contain intensity 15 paralytic poison, effective only against mammalian creatures, which of course includes humans. Because of their speeds, these monsters rarely go hungry. This was a mistake for me. I put one of these things in at the very opening of a game right after this article appeared, so it would have been back in 83. And before I knew it, I had a dead party on my hands. This thing is lethal. He paralyzed a lot of the players, just flat demolished them with damage. They didn't have enough weaponry to take down 14 die 6 at the time. I way underestimated the monster and way overestimated my party. 15 minutes in, I've got a bunch of dead players who are not happy with me, who are looking at the clock going, okay, what are we going to do for the next 3 hours? And I said, dream sequence. And I rolled a die, and one random player, I said, you just had a horrible dream where the GM screwed up and killed your party. And we restarted the game, and I did not include the hydrogen meetup. I did give them satisfaction to let them attack one later. They met one when they were stronger, and they were able to deal with it. But boy, did I goof on that one. That happens. Next, we get the Radium. They are large mutated manta rays. They are armor class 6. 6 dice is the alpha, the beta is 10, and the gamma is 14. This guy mutates as he goes along. And attacks are 2 to 12, 4 to 24, 6 to 36. So radiums are large mutated manta rays that still strongly resemble their ancestral species. Alpha radiums are dull black in color with silver and blue highlights and have a wingspan of about 2 meters. They are commonly found over the shorelines of the east coast of North America, although a few have been seen further inland. Beta radiums are about 4 meters across, a dark gray dorsally and light blue gray ventrally, and they are found more in southerly climates than the alphas. Gamma radiums, spanning 6 meters from wingtip to wingtip, are pale blue and are known to live only around a few islands in southeast North America. All radiums spend their lives airborne. Young are born in midair. They cling to the parents until their wings dry, only a few minutes, and then they can fly as well. For food, they eat small aerial creatures. That's the alpha. The betas eat creatures up to 3 to 10 meters size, and gammas can eat large creatures in one bite. A powerful innate radar sense gives all radiums +4 bonus to hit with their bite attack, and any to hit score of 20 or better means the prey has been swallowed whole, if it's appropriate size. So if you're fighting an alpha, then they wouldn't be swallowed whole. The radiums have special abilities they use to catch prey on the ground, should they happen to notice it. When a flock of radiums notices creatures of edible size on or near the ground, one of the flocks detaches from the group and swoops down in a silent glide at double the normal speed. And they drop a gas over the group. Gas poison intensity equal to the number of hit dice of the radium releasing it. Gas affects all mammals, reptiles, amphibians, and avians, causing them to be rendered unconscious for 20 minutes minus their constitution. Gas cloud can only be generated once a day by any radium. Gas dissipates in 1 minute, and then they swoop down and they eat you. I have used these guys. These are more of a, even the big ones in Gamma World end up being kind of a nuisance encounter. They'll do some damage. They'll take some points from your players, but they're not really going to be an end game, which after my encounter with the hydrogen, my players were happy about. Next, we're going to take a look at the Cycloptron. He has armor class 5, 16 die 6 hit points. Hit points go high in Gamma World. He's originally human. His original stock was human. In the mountainous regions of western North America may be found the great caverns of the folk known as the Cycloptrons. These are human-descended beings who stand an average of 6 meters in height in adulthood. Their hair is bushy black. Cycloptrons are humanoid in shape, thickly built, and powerfully muscled. The enormous weight they carry is well supported by their skeletal systems because of the addition of light metallic alloy to the composition of their bones. So much their physiology requires metallic elements. The Cycloptrons frequently make their own wells and reservoirs underground and fill them with specially developed metallic salts. Their food is heavily spiced with metallic salts and materials. Cycloptrons have only one single eye. By the way, interesting thing, when this article came out, Wolverine's adamantium bones were still fairly new in the comic books. Wolverine was in his own miniseries in 1982 that really brought out a lot of elements about his adamantium bones. I just thought this was a little nod to that. Daylight causes Cycloptrons discomfort 3 times a day. They may launch a beam of energy from its eye against an opponent, and the same to hit as a fusion rifle. Every time the ray strikes an opponent will cause a loss of 1 point of physical strength and 1 point of constitution, plus all bonus hit points and such for 1 to 6 days. After this time, they will be regained, but note the victim is hit 2 or more times. The duration is cumulative. So these were nasty ones too. I don't remember using Cycloptrons. These would be just big giant type encounters. They have some other powers here. They're simply touching something that is predominantly metal. They are able to draw the metallic elements out of the object and effectively disintegrate it. You can destroy 1 cubic meter of metal in this fashion every round. And this power cannot be turned off, so don't ask him to jump into your little air raft. He's going to eat it. As a result of metal disintegrating characteristics, they cannot use robots or the like, and their technological level is quite low. Cycloptrons energetically avoid contact with duralloy and radioactive elements. The former acts as an intensity 15 poison if touched, and the latter is greatly feared by all Cycloptrons for religious reasons. So duralloy is their adamantium. It's pretty interesting use in Gamma World, and it's everywhere. They made everything out of duralloy. It's easy to come by. Duralloy weapons are very favored in Gamma World. The Cyberneter, armor class 1, 20 die 6, 100 hit points. I used Cyberneters quite a bit. They're a great way to work with any kind of cybernetic installation or think tank that's maybe gone amok or rogue and is looking to collect specimens. That's what this guy's for. Adventurers in the Great Lakes region of North America have reported a new, apparently post-Holocaust robot type that's occasionally found as far as 200 kilometers from Lake Superior's shorelines. We played primarily in the Great Lakes area, having grown up in Chicago. Observers believe is being manufactured by one or more known PCIs for unknown reasons. The Cyberneter, as the locals call it, is a flattened sphere 6 meters in diameter and 3 meters tall. 8 legs project out from the side, lifting the body. Its armament is lighter than that of most types of robots or warbots, but effective nonetheless. It has 2 batteries of Mark 7 blasters, wow, that each do 20 die 6 damage out to 500 meters, 15 die 6 out to 1,000 meters, and 10 die 6 to 1,500 meters, out to 1,500 meters, and 5 die 6 to the maximum range of 2,000 meters. It also has a grenade launcher that can fire 50 rounds of stun grenades out to 100 meters. Peculiar to the Cyberneter is a special sort of weapon of non-lethal design called a Weber. A single barrel projecting from the front of the Cyberneter is capable of ejecting long strands of sticky material onto target or targets, like water from a fire hose. Everything with a 60-degree arc in front of the Cyberneter out to a maximum range of 20 meters has an 80% chance of being caught in the sticky masses of material. So right there is Spider-Man's webbing. Victims caught in the mess may attempt to pull free. They have a base chance equal to their physical strength doubled. The webs are not flammable in the least, and the strands harden in 5 minutes, consistency of steel mesh net. Cyberneter may then recover the captives at its leisure, lifting them out with the tractor pressor beam on the underside of the body, after cutting away the strands with atomic torches mounted on the ends of the front legs. When not in use, the torches retract into the mechanical footpad at the ends of the legs. Captives are deposited inside the Cyberneter through doors on the underside of the body by the tractor pressor equipment and then carried away. No one knows where they are taken and what happens to them after that. The machine emits code radio signals from time to time, but they are not decipherable and no receiving station is known. I use Cyberneters. I stripped out some of the blast power because they would have easily overwhelmed a party, but I use them as primarily capture devices for a think tank that had gone crackers, having been isolated and no masters and things like that for centuries. So the Cyberneters went out there and they gathered up the player characters. It was a fun little adventure. They spent most of it in the think tank, not dealing with the Cyberneters. They actually did manage to disable 1 or 2 of these during the fight. And then the Nitrogen, Armor Class 2, 17 hit dice, and it has mutations are Absorption, Illusion Generation, Life Leech, Weather Manipulation. The nocturnal creature of desolate areas known as the Nitrogen is a rare and strange being. Each creature is invariably associated with an atomic energy source, such as a reactor or large battery, from which it appears to draw its life force. Each being manipulates the local weather conditions to produce a thick fog for a 100-meter radius around the atomic power source. Unless opponents can see in the ultraviolet spectrum, the Nitrogen is completely invisible to casual observer while within the fog. In ultraviolet light, or when seen without the surrounding fog, a being appears to have a vaguely humanoid torso with 4 arms and a featureless head. The lower body is just vapor. It can move a maximum of 150 meters from the atomic source, but no more. If forced beyond this, it will dissipate or die immediately. Nitrogens may use their life leech ability within 30-meter radius of the creature's head. They also use illusion generation, making men and monsters appear and disappear in the fog, misleading adventurers until they stumble in a hidden trap or pitfall. Nitrogen have a mental strength of 18. They may also attack physically, 4 attacks per round. Each strike from a hand will drain an opponent of dexterity for 1 point of dexterity from an opponent for 2 to 12 hours. If an opponent has your dex reduced to 0 in this manner, death occurs. Nitrogen's fog reduces normal visibility to 1 meter, makes infravision useless, but does not affect ultravision. Any stronger light source within the fog will create a whiteout effect and blind everybody and take a -4 penalty when fighting this guy. His torso is roughly man-sized and snake-like lower body. These creatures are partially composed of energy. They're only semi-material and hence have such a low armor class. If the power source of the Nitrogen is destroyed, the creature is destroyed as well. I don't remember using the Nitrogen. I threw one into a game, and the players got spooked by the fog. Having encountered fog giants and such in my D&D game, they were very leery about entering into a fog in any of my games. So I don't remember the Nitrogen encounter actually going forward. I had him use some illusions trying to draw them into the fog, but they didn't fall for it. And sometimes that's how encounters go. You don't force the players into the encounter. You try to lure them in. And if they choose not to go, you go on to the next thing. So there you have it. That was a nice look at the Gamma World Monster offering from Roger Moore from Dragon number 75. This guy came to me everywhere I went until I got access to a Xerox copy later in the 80s because I needed those monsters when I played some Gamma World. I also prepared this issue around because of all the Devil articles for D&D. So that's it for today in the Hobby Shop 1983. I hope you enjoyed your visit. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'm also going to be promoting the next Jump Point event, which is happening August 20th. There'll be a link in below in the video to Jump Point and what's going to be going on there. And I'll be promoting that more heavily after Hobby Shop 1983 finishes up. So thank you for joining me in the Hobby Shop today on page 121, and I'll see you next time.